my capstone project's on forensic science. What is forensic science, you may ask? Forensic science is where you take blood, skin cells, and DNA fingerprinting, run it through tests, and then use that to catch criminals. My main inquiry question is, how has forensic science helped crime solving, and what is the most important step of the process? This question is really easy to solve with the man I interviewed, whose name is Ron. He let me visit a lab in Cornell University. I'll be explaining this through an average case of a forensic scientist. Let's begin. Alright, there's a crime scene. Everyone's there. There's press, police, and people. And then in between all that mess, there's the forensic scientist. He's inspecting the man's body. Alright, so what he does is he finds a bunch of stuff inside his pockets, like a Powerball ticket, and he finds his wallet and his ID. They can't gather much evidence, so they go to the gas station where he bought the scratch ticket from. You know, it's your average little gas station. They check all the security cameras, and then they find the man walking out of a store, and then a creepy figure emerges behind him. So this is pretty suspicious, so we would assume he was a suspect. The suspect are some people who are suspected to do the crime. So then they take a bunch of photos of the crime scene, and then they look at the store, and then they find a wrench with a red stain on it. They take the wrench back to the lab as a possible murder weapon, and then they test it for DNA. They take a cotton swab of the blood, and then you spray phenolphthalein on it, and then 1 drop of hydrogen peroxide, and then this way the blood will react like an allergy and turn pink. In this case it does. So now that means the blood was, this blood is like fresh, and if you take a lot of a DNA sample, more detail in the blood patterns will show up. So then they take the wrench and find fingerprints on it, and then they insert it into a machine. One specific brand is called the MySec. It's one of the newer types of machines that does it more efficiently. So you insert the DNA here, and then it comes out from here. And it shows a bunch of little specks and patterns. And then in the meantime, you also test the blood in the DNA machine, and then it matches, and then you have to find some DNA from the victim. So you go back to the victim, and then you take some of his skin cells or blood, and then you test it along with his blood from the wrench. And then if they match, like the same patterns, like let's just say this is his pattern, then the pattern is to be like a slight copy of it. No 2 DNA patterns are the same. They're only similar, but not completely the same. So they check the wrench's DNA prints, and then check the DNA from the suspect. They match, so that means the suspect is the murderer. So they go and look for him and eventually find his address, and then go to his apartment and arrest him. In court, they can use the wrench as evidence, and for extra, just to check again, they use 2 times evidence. So they see him restocking boxes, and then they take the box back to the lab and test that too, and it has very similar prints as the same other 2. So yeah, now you have a lot of evidence to back yourself up in court. So now he goes to jail and serves time, and then yeah, you're done. So pretty much, you put all the stuff left in the evidence in the case file. The case file is where you store everything that has to do with the case project, and you put it there, you name it, date, times, everything. Forensic science is very detailed. You need a lot of patience with it. An average case takes about 5 days and like 4 hours. So you have a lot of time into it. You have to put a lot of effort. So yeah, this answers my main inquiry question because it can back itself up with evidence so much, and the machines are so efficient. And the most important step of the process is definitely collecting evidence, because you cannot have a foundation of a case without evidence, and you can't move off of anything without evidence, and you can't prove him guilty. Then it'd just be an empty case. So, this has proved my main inquiry question, and I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for coming to the lab.